All right, Spaceboy. Join this grand old chat.
What's up, Zephyrina?
Hey, what up, you handsome devil?
Literally, like, I've played so much of that matchup, so it's like a lot of things have come natural to me. But like, even during the fight, I was practicing that video you showed, that that zone thing,
Mm-hmm.
like zone 3, zone 4, zone 5. That's how
Yeah.
I was thinking too. So it's like, and it was very useful to me as well. Like, that's how I felt
Hey.
like a little more comfortable with like I guess blocking some of your sweeps. Then I started thinking about it. I was like, oh, when I enter zone 2, then that's usually when he starts sweeping and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Nice.
I think you're gonna get really good with Akuma. Like, he's much better than Sagat. You're already a great player. You just need to learn a new character. You know?
Right. I agree.
It's literally just like you're playing a meta character. So it's like the general Akuma tricks people know, so you can't quite rely on it just yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like,
I don't even know how to do them, to be honest.
like, I think that like when I was fighting it, I wasn't like, oh, this isn't a run-of-the-mill Akuma. It wasn't like you're just doing EX Demon Flip, you're just doing like TK, Air Fireball, or something like that. You're actively thinking and like trying to create new ways to get in, and a lot of it worked. But it's just the issue of like Akuma really does have low health. He has the tools to mitigate the damage, but like once he gets hit, it's really really bad because
Mm.
if I hit you with like something like stand hard punch, that's 237 into Oki in the corner. That's great. That's huge.
Mm.
That could be the game in some cases. But what's something? Yeah, I think the ranges where you press certain buttons, like you played a really good fireball game, but then it's like you're also pressing stuff like stand hard punch, or you're doing walking crouch medium kick. And if you do stuff like that to vary from the fireball game, then if I say to myself, well, I'm just going to stand hard kick, like Hisakura stand hard kick is a really good button because it streamlines a lot of things. If I clip you during the fireball startup, I'm going to get 240. If I
Yeah.
hit you during the counter hit of crouch medium kick, I'm going to get 240.
Mm.
And at the very worst, if you hit me with the stand hard punch, then you get 160 into Oki. And that's not really scary considering my
Right.
health versus my general damage. So it's like, eventually you need to streamline things against. I'm not sure if we should speak in a matchup sense since you're learning a new character, but in terms of the Sakura matchup, you have to streamline Sakura's stand hard kick. And his stand meat kick is very, very good against a lot of Sakura's button. It usually
Okay.
beats stand hard kick. You can whiff punish it if I do it too early.
Mm.
And the only thing I can consistently whiff punish stand medium kick with is I'd say honestly stand leg kick, and I have to preemptively do stand hard punch. And the thing is, if I preemptively do stand hard punch, then that increases your chance of jumping on me. Because even if I recover, like I'm not gonna do crouch hard punch. Maybe my light punch Shoryu will trade. That's the best case scenario. And usually, I feel like Akumas are really good at getting the air fireballs when someone whiffs something, and then they try to quickly anti-air. Like if I'm trying
Mm.
to hit confirm with crouch medium kick, and then I try to anti-air, like I say, oh, he jumped. I'm gonna do crouch hard punch, and then
Yeah.
that's usually when I get hit by them. You see what I'm saying?
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So you need to create like variants like that, but that comes with time, like watching other Akumas and tournament experience. Like you know these things, so it's like you'll get there. Is what I'm saying. But like, so like you shouldn't feel hard on yourself about the loss because like it was 10-7, which is very good. But like you've been playing Akuma for 2 months, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I
Yeah,
think
and I've been playing Saga for 3 years, or roughly
true.
like 2.5 years. Yeah, so it's like
It's not so much like losing to the player that gets me irritated. It's like I
the
get
way you
frustrated.
lose.
It's like I see this, I know the solution, but my hands don't
Yeah,
cooperate. You know what I'm saying? That's what's frustrating because it's like I'm mad impatient. That's where the anger comes in.
yeah,
So
I
I'm
feel
like,
you.
what the fuck? But it's just like you said, it's time. I just don't like the time excuse. I hate that as an excuse, but it's
No,
reality.
I
It's not
think
an
it's
excuse, you
real.
know.
Like
It's
even
real.
for me, like I'm still trying to practice the Karas cut DPs, and it's still every time you get them, I'm like, wow, it's so natural for him. But like my crutch right now is like, if I think they're gonna cross up, I'll
Mm,
either do something like jump back, the medium punch, or the air throw. But sometimes I should cross cut Shoryu because it's a stable knockdown, and it puts them in the corner instead of like a the air throw is very good damage. It's 160, but sometimes you just want a consistent space instead of like it just returning to neutral. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. That makes
So it's
sense.
like that's something I need to learn, and I know the ranges where I need to do the cross up, but my hands won't do it. Like
Mm.
I remember I played Ryu for a couple months because I'm like, oh, I do much better if I had like an invul DP. But it's like sometimes I just freeze up. So it's like the only way to eventually get over like I know what to do and actually doing it is time. That's really it. You need the experience to actually do it.
Right.
It's like knowing the path and then actually walking it.
Right. 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 I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
So I have a question. So you mentioned like the matchup, right? Like
Yeah.
Akuma beats Sakura. So from your perspective, what is it about Akuma that gives Sakura like a hard time? Because I
Oh,
don't
I think it's
know. I
five
can
five.
only theorize. So
I think the matchup's 5-5. In
oops.
season 3.5, I think he won just in terms of like she didn't have a good fireball, so it's
Mhm.
like he can control the fireball game all day. I would have to bank off of getting like a counter hit somehow, or jumping, or doing hard kick Tatsu, and that's all minus. But like now she has a good fire. She has an okay fireball. It's pretty good.
Mhm.
So it's like I can create some like um pressure neutral. Like I can get you to think about the fire. Back in the past, like the fireball was whatever. It was a huge liability for her to throw out that fireball because of how slow it was. It used to be 17 frames, I believe. Yeah, it was 17 frames startup. Now it's 15. So it's like I can create things in neutral with the fireball. And even though you can punish it with like meeting Kiktatsu, like the fact that I can get you to think about it, then maybe I'll get a dash, maybe I'll get a weird jumping angle where I make you whiff the DP. And I got
Right.
a few of those today.
Right.
It's like to make you have to think, oh, this is Sakura's fireball. This is what she can do with it. Is much better,
Mhm.
even if it doesn't necessarily win the fireball war. If we play the fireball war forever, you win. Is what I'm saying. Like her
Mhm.
fireball is used in a way to slightly punish you for your walking at certain ranges. But in terms of the matchup, she has trouble with EX Demon Flip. Like I can get a hard punish if I'm very much heavily thinking about it. Like I can get Crunch Hard Punch, I could get a DP, but like if you play in a way where it's very hard for me to manage, like say you walking in doing Crunch Mini Kick, a very intensive fireball game, occasional air fireballs, good jump ins, and then the EX Demon Flip, it's very hard. I have to think about like maybe three of those things or play in a certain way where two of those things are out of range. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
Just like
the more I have to consider, it's like obviously I'm gonna spread myself thin. It's gonna make you appear
yeah,
faster, and that makes sense. Hmm.
yeah. Like that
Okay.
matchup, I would say I think it's a game of like Akuma has to prevent Sakura from coming in the whole time. If he finds that Sakura is overextending, he gets a whiff punish into Oki and damage.
Mm.
And generally, he's supposed to control the game with his fire. Like he has to play a very, very elaborate fire, say one that makes them want to jump. But he
Okay.
has to be careful of being in ranges where she can walk in, withstand light kick, and then his foot extends into it, or where she's very much positive, walk in and then do stand hard kick. Like I think
Mm.
that was the main issue of the fight. Like stand hard kick is a very very good button, but there are plenty. I don't think there's any point where I was like afraid to use it. There were points where I was playing the fireball game that I'm like, he's not biting. I'll just walk in, stand hard kick, see what I can get. Then you
Mm.
get across him, and I'm like, okay, I can't use stand hard kick like that. I'll use stand hard kick if I think he's gonna fireball. If I think he's gonna walk at me, or just at ranges to prevent him from entering certain zones.
Mm.
That's how I was thinking about it then. But like, you need to either preemptively beat the stand hard kick, which is pretty reliable, because Akuma has a lot of ways to do that with stand meeting kick or with punishing
Mm.
or just risking certain things. Like I think I don't think you should take risk early on. That's because that's how you die very quick as Akuma. I think eventually you have to take very educated risks if you aren't at least honestly if you aren't at least 25% ahead towards mid game because if I hit you with V trigger, you're in a very very bad position. Like
Mm.
I get EH fireball activations when I think he's gonna walk in like this or he might throw a bad fireball.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Because like
Yep.
I think the key, like you said, is like you need time to learn other things so you can like hedge your bet at certain points. Because like if the way you assert at me is either walk in, fireball, or you wait for me to do something, then more times than not, I can throw an EX fireball and get some sort of activation. 2 out of 3 of those things land me a hit, and the other one lands me pressure either way. You see what I'm saying?
Right. I noticed like when I play against Sakura generally, the EX Fireball seems to be the strongest route into V trigger activation. Do you agree with
It
that?
is.
It is. Okay.
I
And
rely on it a little too much sometimes. Like sometimes I fish for crouch meaty kick the EX fireball a little too often.
mhm.
I should start like I've been getting better at doing something like, okay, instead of activating with that, I'm going to not fish for it. I'm gonna see what they'll do to try to resist my activation, or
Mhm.
maybe I'll walk in stand meaty kick because she can get a pretty solid combo. You just stand meaty kick activation.
Mm.
But I think they wanted it to be a really strong activation after season 2, because it used to be -2 post dash. Now it's +2,
Oh, okay.
and that's like,
Nice.
yeah, it used to be -2.
Yeah, I think she needs that. That's nothing crazy.
Yeah, like tons of people have slide into activation, so it's like, yeah. Also, her super is +3. I noticed you got hit by that post dash. Post
Yeah, I
dash
was like,
+3.
what?
Yeah, she has a +3. She doesn't get a throw, but she can get a meaty.
Oh,
And
okay.
I think in general, that reminds me, like I've been starting to learn that more times than not, you should think about things that aren't necessarily shown versus what you think is happening. Because in my mind, I think everyone knows that super is +3. So I act like everyone knows. Like there, I should have been ready to hit confirm, or I had V trigger, so I should have been ready to do something like stand meaty kick into V trigger activation. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you do something, you should always have the conviction that it's gonna work. There's no why would you do anything?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's no reason to do something unless you think it's gonna work.
Yeah, like even if they block it, I should be ready to like visually confirm that if it's gonna be blocked or hit, because that would just been the game. I would have just won by canceling the V trigger. But I was
Yeah,
just like,
legit.
huh? He actually got hit by that? Yeah. Yeah, you have a good point.
Yeah,
Uh,
because otherwise, it's like not only does it help you confirm things, but it just helps you, reallocate your mental resources. Because you're not playing so
yeah.
complicated when you're like, oh, this is gonna hit, and then you just commit to it. If it does, boom, right? Or you
Yeah.
can confirm it. Like you obviously have fucking great enough reactions to
Yeah.
confirm that shit. So
Yeah.
little things like that are what separate top players. You know what I'm saying? Because the players that are able to um, correct their thinking in minute, like small micro situations like that. Those are the ones that
Yeah.
they accumulate the success over time in a match, and then they're winning. The
Yeah.
players that rely on the big aha moments too much, those are the
Yeah, like you
ones that are
said, the
not consistent.
fishing for home runs. Like I
Right.
remember like that heat check, I was like, huh, that's a really great point. Like that whole game I was fishing for home runs versus just like trying to gradually weigh you down.
Right.
And I think it's just like there's too many like stereotypical comments about Street Fighter Five. It's like, oh, you just fish for big damage. Well, set play, hard knockdown guessing. But like, no, it has very intricate neutral at certain points. If you don't play it, you're going to lose. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah,
It's just that at lower levels, it's such a one-player game in the opponent's mind that like they
yeah,
don't
or bad
see what's
matchups.
happening. Yeah, they're just like I'm gonna keep doing this because it got me this far, and then those matches are very boring to play and they're stale, and then and online is flooded with people like that. That's why battle lounge sessions like this are beautiful
Hmm.
because it's like concentrated. It's because it's concentrated. It's easier to measure the progress, right?
Yeah,
And then of course, like this feedback, right? This conversation here is pretty dope too, because it's like,
yeah.
you
Because
know,
I'm really tired of someone asking me for a set. Like, oh, hey, can we play a first to 10? I'm like, sure, man. And I'm trying to talk to them, and it's just like, GG, see you later.
yeah, that's stupid as fuck.
It doesn't accomplish much. Like, I think like ranked would be better if like maybe people talked at least after fights, like to understand the reasoning of like why someone pressed something or why they thought this was a good idea is very important. So like
Hmm.
yeah. I don't talk during fights, so yeah.
Hmm.
So people talk and play, I can't do that.
All right, I feel you.
Yeah.
Also there was What else was there? Oh yeah, you know when you were talking about the V trigger activation, right? There was
Hmm.
a round where like I caught on to that. I was like, yo, why don't I just use your eagerness against you? So I just started like backing
Yeah,
up. You know what I'm saying? And then like you would whiff the fireballs out of a range where you couldn't V trigger activate it.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you couldn't, because I know for me, what I do with Cigar is I option select fireball and footsies when I have V trigger.
Hmm.
So then if it hits, it's just like automatic, right? But I
Hmm.
do it at certain ranges so that if they are out of the range, obviously my
It
V
just doesn't
triggers,
come out.
yeah, it just doesn't come out, right?
Yeah,
If they block it, it's like whatever. But if they press something, they get hit, then I get the dash up and I can punish them, right?
yeah. The activation.
So when you did that, when I like saw you had bar, I was like, obviously he has V trigger. Obviously he wants to activate. I was like, let me do the opposite of what I usually do because I tend
Yeah,
to get like
which is very
anxiety
important.
when people have the red bar of courage, and I'm like, I need to kill them. I
Yeah,
need to finish the match, right? And then
yeah,
shout outs to NKB for that hilarious metaphor. But I get nervous, and then I'm like, oh, I have to end the match now. So now I'm playing not to lose instead of playing to win, right? And
yeah,
that's it. That's two different qualities of thinking, and then that shit shows up because when you make a mistake when you're playing to lose, or you're playing not to lose, and you make a mistake, the mistake is
you
way
feel
more
worse.
significant, yeah, than if you
Yeah,
were just playing to win. Because if you play to win, you already have a focus. Everything is measurable. You know the steps, right? You're like, okay, I fucked up. Let me adjust, right?
yeah,
But when I'm in that mode, bro, it's literally when people have V trigger and I don't want them to V trigger activate. So
yeah,
I was like, let me do the opposite, right? So when I was like, let me just back up and make you use your bar, right? Like, why not? I don't
yeah,
always have to keep the corner. I don't always have to do shit. That tends to be an issue of
yeah,
mine, bro. Is like I tend to like try to find the universal answer, and then when I think I find it, I
yeah,
hang on to it, right? But everything has a
yeah,
time and a
yeah. I'm like
place,
that too sometimes,
you know.
and that's
And
how like other options get in from the opponent.
I think it's a
Yeah,
cerebral player thing, like because we're constantly in search of things, and trying to
yeah,
improve. You're like, at a certain point, you're like, come on, I gotta find the one thing that gives me
yeah.
the upper hand
For
forever.
me,
But
for me, I play like a lot of like, I think it's kind of like a gamer thing too, like a boss fight, where it's like, oh, I found their weakness, so this is the thing that I eventually exploit, right? But like
mm,
players can adapt and change too. Like, that's kind of why I don't fight item that often, but it's like even when I find something that could be like a critical loss for him, where it's like, oh, he's doing crouch hard punch into fireball, I'll be ready to hit that to react with crouch me kick into Oki, and I can get that, and I can get it a lot. But then eventually he'll reintroduce something new, where it's like instead of doing crouch hard punch and fireball, he'll just do crouch hard punch a couple more times. Then when I think I'm ready for it, he'll do like a dash or something, or crouch hard punch and overhead. Just like small changes like that. Like
mm,
like you said, I think that's what separates like a really good player from the top player. Yeah.
mm. Word. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the V trigger thing. So I've
Hmm.
been trying to pinpoint like my blind spots, my tunnel vision, right?
Yeah.
Um, and in order for you to change, you have to first recognize. You have to be aware of something needing to be changed in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is that noticing that is associated with pain because that means you have to point out your deficiencies, and we don't naturally
Yeah.
like to do that, right? It's a very painful
Yeah.
process, but I'm thankful that we're doing this together because it's hard to do this by yourself. But I like it
Yeah.
when it's with somebody else because like you're saying shit that's outside of my head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like an open dialogue. It's like an exchange of like
Yeah,
different thoughts and ideas.
right. And
Like for
yeah, go
me, I
ahead.
journalize certain tournament losses. Like I'll always write like the two people that I lost to and how I lost to them. So like that's a way for me to do it too. But if I lose to them, I always try to at least talk to them about them in some
Mm.
shape or form. Normally, unless I'm really salty, to be honest.
I feel you, bro.
Yeah,
It happens. It
yeah,
happens.
yeah. But I always at least try to say a good game to them. Something like
Mm.
yeah. But
Um.
I'm
Hmm.
not so sure if there's anything else I have to add to the fight because I think you're gonna get really good with Akuma. I think it's just gonna take time. Right now it's off season, like CPT's over, so like this is the time to experiment. So I'm happy you're playing Akuma instead of Sagat now.
Yeah.
Like,
There's no
you get what I'm
reason
saying?
to stick with him because it's like if Sagat gets buffed, then I'll
You can go back to
I'll
him, yeah.
right go back to him and I have a crazy head start. But like if
But
he
Street
stays the
Fighter,
same,
then you're
it's like,
screwed. You
bro, I'm
wasted your time.
fucked. Right.
Yeah. Wasted your time in the sense that you know you're playing a weak character. Like as long as you're playing to improve, I feel like even if you're playing a bad character, that's fine. But it's like I only main soccer now because I know that at worst, her worst matchup is a 5.5, and 5.5 in Street Fighter 5 is as good as 5 even when you get the
Hmm.
hit. You see what I'm saying? She doesn't have a
Oh,
six
true.
four in any capacity.
Wow. Even
It,
Dawson?
no, like
Damn.
I talked to. I used to think that it was bad, but it's like she can realistically get the hit or streamline his ideas. That's the
Mm.
thing. Where it's like when I lost to like Arturo, he beats me a lot now after SFL, but it's like even now it's still very very close. And like the only other Dawson that's like at his level at tournament for the East Coast at least is like Adnan or K Money, and
Mm.
even then it's still very like it's very very close. Like usually. Like even Adnan, he started beating me again, but that's because we're like having an exchange, like a
Mm.
dialogue, or at least we're playing each other a lot. But I never lose to Dawson, and I'm like, wow, what should I have done there? It's like, oh, this is what I could have done here. This is how I could have
Mm.
changed up my rhythm. Maybe I should
Right.
have thrown a fireball here, etc., etc. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's see with Sagat. I there were times like if I play Sim versus Sagat, bro. That shit is
yeah,
that shit is hard. But
yeah.
it's like it's not impossible, but it's not
It's
worth it.
hard.
It's not worth
It's
it.
not worth playing. I know exactly what you're saying. That's what like Alex as a character was like a that was my character crisis. Alex I used to play
Mm.
him, but it's like sure you can get the one thing, but it's so hard to get it. Like for like soccer, like you said in that cigar round table, there's things for other characters to fall back on. But soccer can't use her stand hard kick or fireball. She can do
Mm.
crouch medium kick, or she can use her dash. Her dash is very much a dangerous tool in its own right. Or she
Mm.
can stand like kick buffer. She has other things. But like Sagat, he only has fireball and pokes. That's really it.
Right.
And DP. But if you don't need to worry about his fireball, then he can't DP you. And pokes or whatever in this game, unless they cross counter. That's really the plain and simple thing. Like pokes are good. They can create certain things. They can slap people on the wrist, but you can't slap people on the wrist forever. You're not gonna poke someone 10 times for the kill. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? Unless it crush counters. Yeah.
That's what's frustrating about Sagat is like when he comes across a character um that can not only shut down his fireball game, but can shut down the
Yeah.
fireball game and something else at the same time. Like Dawson can slide under Tiger knees. Like that shit
Yeah, that's
literally
crazy.
destroys the matchup. Like that doesn't make sense. So the one thing I have to fall
Yeah.
back on, it's like what
It's
you
gone.
know. Yeah, that's when it's
Can
frustrating.
like
But then
V skill 2 at the slide?
he goes right underneath it.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous, right? So when I go to Akuma though, and I lose with Akuma, like I get
There's
annoyed
always
because I'm
something.
yeah. There's always something. That's the thing. It's like I can always be like, all right, let me rewatch this, and it makes sense, right? But
Yeah.
the frustrating thing about Akuma is the health. I'm not used to that health
Yeah.
differential. That shit throws me off so much, bro.
Yeah. I
Because the
at
guy
least
has
played
1025.
Makoto. Yeah. Like I at least played Makoto in Street Fighter 4 or like Yang in Third Strike. Or like I don't know if you play Persona, but I played Yosuke there. I've always
Mm,
at least played a low health character. I
mm,
prefer like a normal health character or slightly below. Like 975 is essentially slightly below normal health as far as I'm
mm.
concerned. Because honestly, I felt like Sakura should have been 1K because she didn't have an invul DP. But 975, I'll take it to be honest.
Mm.
But I don't know. Like those things just take time. Eventually, you'll get used to like managing that health and like knowing what you can and can't get hit by. Because you can't say I'll get hit by nothing. You know what I mean? Otherwise,
Right.
you just don't take risks.
Because in my head, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't ask that question like I do Sagat. Even though Sagat has more health, I ask myself like, what is the risk here? Like, but obviously because I'm so experienced, the question's very fast, right? I'm like, if
Yeah,
I do this, this could happen based off his. I won't do that. But with Akuma, I'm
yeah.
just like driving a Ferrari, and I'm like, I want to go 900 miles an hour all the time.
But you're gonna break it if you're not careful. You're gonna
Right,
be like,
exactly, and that's why I keep fucking crashing and burning. Like the
yeah.
faster I
But
go, because I
eventually,
don't know how to walk, I just keep
mhm,
fucking falling and tripping and falling on my face. And I'm like, oh my god, this is
yeah,
frustrating.
yeah. Like It be like I said, like honestly, the simple thing is like I think people use time as an excuse where it's like I don't think you should just mindlessly grind out games, but like you're actively thinking and applying new information to losses. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's why I think it's okay in this circumstance to say it'll come with time because I feel like you're the sort of person who even after they walk away, they're still thinking about that match.
Yep.
Or it's like,
Fact.
yeah. So it's
Oh man.
like there's a huge difference between someone who's like, dang, I got bodied, and they don't think about getting bodied, period, at all,
Hmm.
or like, dang, I got bodied. They watch the replay, they think about new applications, they have discussions. Then eventually, in time, they'll get better.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think a lot of players think fighting games are like RPGs, where it's like, if you keep grinding against certain players and you just keep playing, you'll eventually be better. But like,
Mm,
that's not what they are. And
right.
even if they were like that, like there's optimized learning. Because like, because
True.
item he'll play a lot of rank, but like I'm sure he went to the lab to apply certain things.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes total sense, bro. I
Yeah.
like how you conveyed that. It was very
Okay.
simple and easy to grasp. And it's true, man. Like even with wins, even when I win shit, I still walk away. Like after I won an LBC, I walked away. I was like, what the fuck? I rewatched my matches. I was like, I play like ass, bro. You know,
I
it's just
don't. I actually don't really rewatch wins. I think I should do that more often. Like
yeah,
my friends tell me I should do that.
I recommend it just so you can stay
Yeah.
humble. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying you're not humble, but it will help. It will force you to be more mindful and honest about your progress.
I don't know how you're winning. Yeah. Like
You know?
I feel like I should watch. I feel like maybe I'm too negative in that sense, where it's like I feel like if I win a tournament or if I beat someone, I'm like, okay, I was fully prepared for that fight. But like the thing is, I'm not reviewing matchups which where I win 2-1, but it's final game, final round. So I just
Mm,
walk away like, oh, I was prepared for it. It's okay. But
mm,
like, I feel like if I that's another like time thing where it's like I'm in school right now, so it's like I can't just say, oh, I'll just grind Street Fighter 2. So like that's part of the reason where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna watch my losses right now. Like
mm,
even in general, I don't do that. Even when I can like fully commit myself to playing. So
mm.
I should do that a little more often.
Yeah, and if and you remember too, like when you watch your matches, you don't
Hmm.
just have to watch your matches. You can watch game management, like so
Yeah,
the relationship between the matches. You know what I'm saying? That's something people kind of
yeah,
ignore. But like if you watch the narration between the matches, the ebb and flow of it, then you'll be able to piece
yeah.
together shit on how people think when they're up a
Hmm.
match, when they're down a match. You know, start of the match. You know, like all sorts of different shit. Like if it's last match, last
Yeah,
round, you'll be able to notice like how you can predict the way people will play based off
yeah,
of the build up. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Like
So.
right now for me, like I think for me to improve, like I have a pretty good knowledge I want to do. Like I'm trying to I guess I'm trying to learn why people have certain opinions on the way they should play based on watching other people, like
Mm,
watching replays. Like I'm trying to understand their reasoning for doing something. I think in best case scenario, I can do my best to ignore what they want to do because I think Sakura, like a characters who can't deal for a fireball, or they will run into stand hard kick a lot, or it's very easy for her to try for crouch me kick confirm. I can just kind of I don't want to say autopilot, but like it's very easy to streamline what happens in the match. But like there are plenty of characters where she can't do that.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. So what do you think is like your next step? Like what do you think you need to work on? Like if you had to choose one thing, if you do that one thing out of this whole list of potentialities that you could do, if you do that one thing, it doubles your results. You fucking just you get all maybe not everything that you've desired, you know, in terms of
Yeah, but
tournament
just
play, but yeah, like what would give you that significant boost?
I think right now for me it needs to be variance on offense, where it's like
Mm,
I get the knockdown, then it's like I have to create ways where I could get damage without just doing like the two things that I want to do. Like in my mind, like Street Fighter Five offense is like throw, shimmy, counter hit. I think I need to be a little more elaborate than that. Where
mm,
it's like honestly, sometimes when I'm like feeling nervous in a fight, I'll just like shimmy, stand hard punch, or do like just like oh I'm gonna like what else would I do? I would just throw. like I was watching a fight with my friend yesterday, and it's like I got 6 different knockdowns, and I threw all 5 times, and then I was like, okay, now I'm gonna shimmy. Yeah, he beat me 3-0 last night. Like he beat me 3-0. Like it was, I got a round apiece each round. So it's like maybe if I varied myself a little bit better. I'm not always like that, but like I guess when I'm nervous or I just have like a certain expectation for the fight, that's what I do. So it's like I threw him 5 times, and I'm like I have the mindset of like, hey, why did he tech 5 times? But like I think a better mindset would be, why did I throw 5 times? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I need to work on variance like that. And then the 6th time that happened, I'm like, haha, I finally shimmied him. Now I can start throwing him again. The next time it happens, he texts him like, oh man, what the hell is this fight gonna be? Then I lose 3-0. I'm like, oh.
I think honestly, if you pay attention to what you said, it sounds more like not you don't have a variance issue, because I think your offense is pretty good. I think it's you don't recognize when you're nervous. So when you're nervous, it's very difficult to like point out, right? Like, hey, I'm nervous. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to recognize that, then do something about it. So if you don't recognize it, that means you are now going to resort to autopilot of previous behaviors that you do under that type of stress. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, normally, yeah, that makes sense, because like normally when I'm just like coolest about a fight, I'll just throw when I get the knockdown. I think that's my thing. Or I'll throw or I'll shimmy. Like now at the very least, I'll at least try to do something like counter hit back hard punch, or like a stand like a counter hit, a stand like punch counter hit. Like now I at least try that, but like those things aren't natural to me as a player. Like I have to actively think that I'm gonna do that. But like after the 2 years of playing Sakura and obviously playing fighting games period, it's very easy for me to say, I got the knockdown, I'll throw. Oh, it's 3-5, I got the knockdown, I'll shimmy. And then I start losing to people who backdash pretty often. I've been getting pretty better at it though.
Yeah, you're doing a lot better at that. You were sniping me with that shit. I was like, oh, this is fucking cheap. I didn't know that shit hit
like
that
back hard
far.
punch, right?
No, you did crouch and fierce. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Oh yeah. That's like a thing. Like I think that works on backdashes that are 23 frame. So it's like that would fail on Karin, that would fail on Sean, that would hit Sagat, that would hit Birdie, that would hit Kuma. Yeah, so I'm like at that point, then I'm like, maybe I should test his reaction, because like occasionally I'll dash and throw, or I'll get a little close and do stand meaty punch. So I'll do something. Like I wasn't thinking like, oh, he's gonna backdash, I'm gonna double dash crouch hard punch. I was thinking, hey, I should test his reaction here. I'm gonna double dash crouch hard punch and see what I can get with an EX fireball. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that would help you a lot, bro. And then when you build the awareness, then you start to put the focus on, okay, how do I reset myself? How do I go backwards, right? And what's going to be dope is, as you build this skill, if you're keen enough, you'll notice when people are in that mindset. You'll notice when people are out of their element a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to notice shit like the skeleton of their decision making will be different. You'll be like, this is off. I know you're nervous, or I know you're eager or impatient, or or you lack confidence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Based off of how you're pressuring me. And then you'll just be able to pick up, man, like what they want to do, and you'll be able to just block your way. You'll be able to tech shit that people will be like, why would you tech there? But you knew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I say that too often still. Like yeah, I see what you're saying. But
people that say shit like that, why would you tech? They're going off of the universal belief system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's why they do shit like
take
that.
The throw,
right?
But it's like, if you take the throw forever, like I'll fight some of my friends, and they really do believe in just take the throw. And yeah, more times than not, I think it's absurd that I throw 6 times in a row. But the average person that I fight, if I throw them 6 times in a row, they'll take all 6 of those throws.
Right.
But I'm not. I feel like, I don't want to sound smug or anything. I feel like I'm ready to fight an average player, but like it's like the really, really high level players I can't beat. Where it's like I'll run into Rob in tournament and I'll be up 2-0. I'm like, oh, I think I'm ready for him tonight. But then he'll change something, he'll vary himself, then 3-2 reversal, or it's like I'll fight Idom or something, and I'm like, I think I'm ready for his poison tonight, and then nope, I'm not. He'll like change something. Or just small things like that, where it's like, Like that's what I'm trying to work on right now. Like the variance, well, not the variance thing. I think I'll take that into consideration. Noticing when I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, Spaceboy, thank you for the games, bro. I'm gonna try to play a little bit more before I end the stream. But yeah, stay in touch, man. We'll do it again. We could do like weekly progress, checks and whatnot. Just play and see how
I'm
we
willing to
grew.
do that.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
this semester,
Yeah.
I'm pretty like free to be able to
Okay.
practice, just in the sense of like this semester, like my lowest grades like are 94. So like that's going good. I'm not working anymore as
Mhm.
package handling, but I'm not gonna get Corona 14 an hour. So it's literally just like, yeah.
But yeah, we'll stay in touch then. And yeah, thank you so much for the games. Thank you so much for helping me grow. And hopefully
Thanks
you
for
took
playing
something
PTs
away
out
from
right
it.
now. I
Of
appreciate
course,
it.
man. I love the dialogue. I appreciate your mind, your perspective. You've helped me a lot in
Thanks.
the past year. So,
Likewise.
let's just grow together, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about.
Yeah. Also, there's one thing I want to say. That was what Never Knows Best says. It says, knowing why someone does something is impractically difficult. And I agree. Like, I agree that during a fight, I'm not saying, like, I'm not thinking, like, I'm trying to be, like, a detective trying to understand their mindset. I'm saying post-game, I'm trying to see their mindset. I think to obsess about what they're trying to do during a fight is very catastrophic. And if you have to do that, that's the signs of that you're playing a bad matchup. Like, we're playing a fighting game, not trying to mind read. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But
Okay.
yeah, like he had a really good point, but I'm trying to understand post game why they made the decisions that they did, not during. Yeah.
Okay. Word.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So thank you so much for just again everything and contributing to everybody's growth in the stream also. So appreciate it, man. All right, Spaceboy. I'm gonna play Sanford now. Sanford invited me, so I'm gonna try to apply the shit you told me.
Yeah. Peace, man. Have a good fight.
All right, bro. Much